Hello everyone, I'm Rachel Tessman from stampyourartout.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Andover, Minnesota in the US. And I'm here to bring you a live paper crafting class because it is Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Time on March 26, 2025. Thank you all for joining me. It's so fun to read your comments as I am getting my last few buttons pushed to go live, and it's fun to read the conversation. So thank you so much. If you're watching after the live, please comment in the after live section of the video. The more comments we get in the after live section, the more prizes I will draw in the future. So on that note, please comment away. Even during the live, we do live drawings for prizes, and we do after the live drawings for prizes. And my moderator, Trisha Josephs, is here with us once again to comment, to add questions or answer questions as we go, and to provide information and to pick the winners. So please say hello to Trisha Josephs. We're going to be sharing a unique way to use the layers of beauty masks. So Stampin' Up! Has these things that they call masks, which are like stencils, and they layer on top of each other to build like a multicolored image. It's so pretty, it's so fun. And so a lot of people have been using the layers of layers of beauty masks in the intended way in all of their cards. So they're putting together the leaves with the flowers and it's a full image. Well, I wanted to do something a little different because I like to think outside the box. And I thought, well, how can I do this differently so it's not giving us the same look? So I did the leaves separately, I did the flowers separately, and then I took a peek at how I could arrange them, and I'm going to share with you an Easter egg card. I've been looking at the framed seamed dies for a long time also. They have two ovals that are slightly different sizes in them, and I thought, these are perfect Easter egg sizes. And when I first cut them out, I don't know how many months ago, maybe it was a couple months back, I'm like, that's exactly what I want to do with them, is make an Easter egg card, because we love to color Easter eggs in our family. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to make an Easter egg card using the frame scene dies, the layers of beauty masks, and we're also going to be bringing in the Storybook Friends stamp set just for a sentiment because it's the perfect Easter sentiment. So a big hello. I'm looking at my computer, just checking in on comments. A big hello to all of you. My members, my YouTube members, the supporting members of my channel. You may have seen a couple videos drop in the last 24 hours or so. I am taking my videos from YouTube, or not YouTube, from Facebook. So Facebook is doing this new thing where they're deleting older videos. You have like 90 days to retrieve them and put them somewhere else. And then they're taking the ones that you do Facebook Lives with currently, and they're only going to be live for so long. I think it's like 30 days before they're deleted. So the timing was actually kind of in sync with when I went from doing Facebook Lives and YouTube Lives together to just YouTube Lives. I'm doing that just because of less stress, and this is really where everybody can see it. It's a lot to juggle going live in two different places, and then Facebook made the announcement. Anyways, I am now taking those older videos from like 2016, I think the oldest one was, and I'm downloading them and I'm uploading them. And right now that is one of my supporting member for my YouTube members. It's one of your perks. See, I change them every once in a while. I add things in. So not only do you get the video once a month, but now you're going to be inundated with all of these videos. Eventually I'll make them be obtainable by everyone on my channel. But right now I'm kind of like teasing them in. So you guys might get flooded with announcements if you have your notifications on. Feel free to watch them, but you don't need to. I just need to store them somewhere. So what are we going to do today? Let's go ahead and get started. Let me show you the supply and measurement sheet, the PDF. This is something that you can print off from my website at stampyourartout.com. So when you're there, in about a little over an hour at 12:15 p.m. Central Time, you'll be able to download this PDF. It is going to be connected to the blog post, and the link is already in the YouTube description. So if you check out the YouTube description right now, you're going to see that link, and it's not going to lead you anywhere. But at 12:15, it'll be live. You'll be able to see the close-up photos of the card that I'm going to create, which you can see on the screen right now. You can see them in the blog post. You can see the measurements in the blog post. You can print off this one-page PDF, which is a great reference to come back to later on. It has the title, the date, the supply list, and all the supplies are clickable and all of that. So, all right, you saw one, Trish? If I hadn't told you that it was your first, you would not have guessed it. Oh, you're so sweet. No, that was my first Facebook Live, and I stumbled. So it was, well, I mean, I stumble in all my videos somehow, but yeah, just kind of fun to reminisce too as I'm downloading them. I'm like, oh, wow, I remember that card. I totally was in love with that card. I'm so glad that I still have that video. I don't want to lose it, right? So no matter how much the camera is like jiggling, because I'm doing the Facebook Lives with just my phone, not my multi-camera system that I have right now with Switcher Studio. But it was a little more rough back then, but fun. So fun. All right, we are going to, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to make sure that I had all my supplies with me. I hope I do. I set them aside 2 days ago after creating the card. Yes, I created the card 2 days ago. And I'm hoping they're still on my desk. So we'll see as we go. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to pull in something that is not a Stampin' Up! Product, but I hope that they get something like this. It's like a grip mat. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, media grip. And it's from Tim Holtz. I have it in my favorite extras. So if you go to my website at stampyourartout.com and you click on shop and then go to my favorite extras, you're going to see a link to this in the Amazon store. So let's go to the desktop. I have my glass mat. Let me zoom out a bit so you can see the full glass mat. I have my glass mat on my desktop and the lights are shining on it in such wacky ways. All right, this is my glass mat. This is a Stampin' Up! Product. You can obtain this through Stampin' Up! I hope I linked it in my supplies. Anyways, I'm going to take this grip mat, this media grip, and I'm going to lay it down onto my glass mat. And it literally will hold on to that mat. In fact, I'm shaking my table trying to move the grip mat from the glass mat. It's got a nice grab. And the next thing that it grabs onto is cardstock. So if you're going to be doing artsy stuff, it is good to have a grip mat. So I can just set this. In fact, I'm going to peel it up and move it down just a little bit so we can see the measurements there too. We're going to be using those lines on the grid. It's clinging. Hang on. We're going to be using the lines on the glass mat, the grid on the glass mat to help us. I think I have it straight enough. Okay. Now we have to get the air bubbles out. All right. Thanks, Trisha, for posting that link to my favorite extras. All right. So I'm going to take this piece of cardstock, and this measures 5.5 by 4.25. And I'm going to add it up here. I don't know, just close to the edge so that we can use the grid up here to help us out. In fact, I'm going to move over just a bit because I might I should go this way because I might zoom in. Let's just zoom in now so we can see. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to zoom in and we're going to kind of push that on and see it's not moving. Like if I were to take and do stuff on here, the cardstock doesn't move. It's so awesome, you guys. We need to get this for a Stampin' Up! Product. The other supplies, by the way, the consumables that I'm going to be using are from these colors. So we have the textured silver and gold foil specialty paper, or specialty paper I think they call it. I don't think they call it foil. I'll set that back here. We're just going to use a small portion of it. I already have all the pieces out. We're going to be using basic black cardstock, basic white cardstock, granny apple green cardstock, and Pool Party. And I'm just using the regular basic white because it's a multi-layered card. And I figure with all of those layers, you're going to have plenty of stiffness in the base of the card. Actually, the stiffness is from the Pool Party. The Pool Party is going to be the base of the card this time. So here's our Pool Party, and I've already cut it in half, scored it halfway. So it's now 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5.5 inches. And where are my tools? Yes, Rachel does not know if she has all of her stuff out, so we're gonna do a quick little check. There it is, bone folder. We're just gonna press that on there to flatten it out. I've also got another sheet of basic white, as you may have seen in the measurements. That is the same size. These are both a 1/4 sheet of white, and we're gonna trim or cut from them. So you just want a big enough piece, because when you get to the edges of your cardstock, when you're doing some of the coloring type stuff, it gets a little darker on the edges. And then we have one more white, and this one's already pre-cut. So we're going to be cutting this one down after we do some inking on it, and we're going to cut it to this same size. And this is 4 by 5 1/4 inches. Okay, so we have 3 sheets of white, 2 are half sheets. One we're going to cut down to this size, which is 4 by 5 1/4, and then this other one, after we do some inking on it, we're going to die cut from. So I told you that let's see, one more piece of color. Sorry, basic black. Basic black is 2 1/4 inches by 3/4 inches, and that's for our sentiment. So when I came up with the colors, I knew I wanted to use a bright spring color. So I used my color coach. This is something that you can purchase. I don't know if I listed it in the supplies either. It's been a couple days. Okay, well anyways, hopefully it's in there. But the color coach is a great tool for finding triadic colors, for finding analogous colors, monochromatic, but we're going to be using the complementary, so 2 opposite ends of the color wheel, these 2 windows here. And I knew I wanted to use lemon lime twist and granny apple green, so I thought, what purple is probably the best for vibration? Like when you do complementary colors, they really intensify each other on the card. And so I went over here and I'm like, well, there we go. Let's use Fresh Freesia and Berry Burst. And there is an in color that's current. This color wheel does not have in colors on it, so it can be used year after year. But another in color that's between these two is Petunia Pop. So we'll be using Lemon Lime Twist, Granny Apple Green for the finding my ink pads now. Oh, here they are. Those colors for the leaves. And then Petunia Pop, Fresh Freesia, Berry Burst. Those are going to be for the floral part. And then the pool party we'll add in there. So I have all kinds of blending brushes. I like to store them in these Tailored Expressions containers that I get from Stamp and Storage. There is a link to these boxes in my favorite extras also. Let's start with Lemon Lime Twist. There are big blending brushes and there are small blending brushes. Let's bring in this little tray just because when I use it, it kind of grips to the mat here too. Let me zoom out so you can see. It grips to the mat, but this pad will move around in it. So as I ink it up, I'll probably brush in one direction. You can see it moves within that little area, but or I could try to do it on here, but I think it'll still move because it's got a little bit of air under it. Okay, so then the next thing are the masks. Let's pull out the masks. The star of the show, Layers of Beauty Decorative Masks. Again, they're stencils, and you get 5 of them. So let's flip them in order. I clean them off, and then I put them away. All right, let's see here. There they go. So you see how they're numbered? Let's see if you can see that. 1, yeah, you can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the order that they want you to use them. I'm going to start with 4. So I'm not using them in order, but I am using the leaves in order, and then I'll be using the flowers in order. So for this one, we're going to center with just, we're looking at this area here though. Like I want to center this zone on my card. Let's see if I can do that here. Okay, so this little area here is centered. I'm going to shift it just to that direction a little bit. And then I'm going to tape, because even though this is a grippy mat, you can see it will grip if I keep pressing there. It's not really gripping. So I'm just using regular tape. You could use washi tape. You could use your, fancy crafting tape, the green tape or whatever, but I'm just taping this down. And this is where, hang on a minute. I want to use these grid lines. So I might shift this a little bit because we can trim this. So I'm going to use these grid lines up here on my clear mat. Do you see this dashed one going down? It is hitting that notch. Okay, so I know that when I put the next mask on, I'm going to line up my next notch, because they have little notches up here, with that area about 1/4 of an inch in. That'll just help me to try to, position it the best I can. So now what we do is we take our blending brush. This is so fun, you guys. Here we go. And we start to move the color. And if you want less intense color, you start off always, right? You start off of the area where you're going to bring in the color in, and then you slowly move into those areas. Now, I don't mind intense color on this. I think the more intense for these lighter colors, the more bold your card will be. So as I'm doing this circular motion to blend that ink into the open areas of the stencil or the mask, I can take ink that's on the plastic part and I can bring that in too. Like there's ink that collects there, and you can bring that in. And you can see like this area is darker than this area. So as I'm doing this, I can then start off again and then come in with more intense color where I want to darken it up a bit. And I'm going to do this whole mask. Now on the flower part, I don't necessarily have to do them all. I probably will, but there's only certain parts that I cut out with my dies, because I am focusing in on the Easter eggs for the flower one. So what's the best way to clean your blending brushes? Well, this is water soluble ink, so you can rinse them. You can take and soak them and rinse them if you want to, but sometimes soaking will get that color embedded more into the base of the brush. So I think it's best to do kind of a running the water on the surface of it to get the color off, because that's where the color sits. But it's up to you. I mean, it depends on how clean you want them. I tend to use mine in the same exact color every time. I put little labels on mine. So this is my lemon lime twist brush, because I don't like dealing with the cleaning. The cleaning is a long process. You have to wait for it to dry. And I just feel like my brushes stay in better shape when I don't keep cleaning them. So I guess clean them as little as you can if possible, because I think it tends to make them a little stiffer maybe. I don't know. I'm not the blending brush expert, so I'm just telling you that's how I do it. So Patty H says that she cleans them with alcohol. Alcohol is a more intense cleaner. So I don't know if that over time would loosen any of the fibers in the base, but that sounds like a great idea to me. I might try that next time. Again, I'm not like the blending brush expert, but the less often you clean them with water, I think the longer they last. The other thing that I want to mention is you don't have to have them assigned to just one color. Most people don't invest in a color for every single ink pad they have. They use their light green for their light greens. They use their dark green for their dark greens, their light blue, their dark blue. You know what I mean? So you can do it that way. Maybe you have a warm yellow versus a cool yellow. You know what I mean? So you can assign it to categories of colors. Okay. Yeah, any information you guys about cleaning would be great. These masks, because again, I'm using water-soluble ink, they just clean off with water. Okay, so now I pull this away. I'm going to save my tape just because I'm cheap. Now I just don't want to keep taking tape and off and on. Let's see here. Or, I mean, I don't want to keep having my tape get caught up on itself when I am setting them over there. So now I'm lining up this notch about 1/4 of an inch off my mat, and you can see it lines up with my image that I have here. And as long as all your parts and pieces look like they're lined up, you can tape it down again. And now we're going to switch to a different color. We're going to bring in Granny Apple Green. Okay, Virginia has one for each color too. Yay, Virginia! We're obsessed crafters. Alcohol on a paper towel to clean it. It dries fast because the alcohol just evaporates. Good to know, Tanya. Yeah, and when you don't clean them, like I don't, I don't know all these cleaning tips. And Kelly says she never washes her brushes. I find that they get kind of stiffer or something when you wash them. So if you can avoid washing them with water, I think that's better. And the alcohol route, I think I'm going to try that. Okay, now we have Granny Apple Green, which you can see is a darker, deeper green already on the center of my masks. It's going to intensify certain areas. And this mask is one that does go on top of the other masked image, right? But it's narrower, which is why we use this second. Plus, if you have any kind of darker ink, it's best to do darker over lighter, always, I think. We found that out in my big leaves card that I did about a month back. I did yellow on top of green, and the yellow floated on top of the green. I think as I was making, I'm like, I don't know if I'd do this. And sure enough, as it dried, the yellow was, you could see the yellow on top, which was kind of funky and weird. So Kim also has a brush for every color. I love it. Let's the brush for every color club, right? All right, so you can see some areas are darker and lighter. So I'm going to go ahead and just go straight in. I don't even care about having my green ink go off a little bit first. I mean, I just want intense color on this card. I think, again, the more intense, the bolder, the brighter, the more vibrant images you get. So, and we want to get down into all those little nooks and crannies too. There are tiny little spots that are tiny holes, like just like there's a microscopic hole right there. You can barely see it. So aim right on top with your blending brush. I love blending brushes. Blending brushes are one of my favorite go-to tools because it just adds the color in such a soft way, especially with softer colors. But you can just do it nice and gradual if you take and you get the ink less intense by, you know, kind of scrubbing onto a scrap paper and then coming in with your color with a light touch. So there, we have that done. And we're going to lift up this paper and we're going to trim it soon. But right now, let's just take those masks and set them aside and bring in. Isn't that pretty? Oh gosh, I'm like going on to the next thing and I didn't even show you this. Look at that. Look at those pretty leaves. So the next masks are intended, and I'm just going to stack them so you can see. Well, maybe you can't see. Oh, you can through that one. This is good. I'll stack two of them and we'll lay it over the top. Can you see how those flowers line up in there? And you have these beautiful florals then. A couple of roses in here. You know what I mean? It just really, really builds. And there's the full flower base. Okay, so we're going to do the flowers separately. Let's bring in our other full sheets. We have two full papers. Make sure we're grabbing the bigger one. And we'll lay this down here again. Okay, it's about 1/4 of an inch away. And this one, that will fill it up. Yep. So we now have our notch. And you know what? I can probably bring this over a tad so it's in line with the darker line up here. So we'll just put it right there. And we'll tape it down and we'll go on with our next three colors. So this one, the largest mask, or the mask number 1 with the larger holes, I should say, is for our lighter color. Just like before, our larger areas on the leaves. You can see the difference here. This is the lighter and this is the darker, because the darker does more of the detail. So we'll start with Fresh Freesia, which is our lightest of our colors. I'm going to switch to my other box of, I think this is my Fresh Freesia. Yes, it is. It looks funny. Like it looks like it's a darker purple than Highland Heather, but I just use it more. All right, Fresh Freesia ink. And here we go. We'll start off a little bit and slowly come in. Now, there are tiny little spots like this on your masks, and you need to be aware of them so that when you are brushing on your color, you are not being super rough. Especially on my second one. I feel like that's the one. Yeah, my second one, when I was rinsing it out, I kind of bent one of them back. So I hope it doesn't stay loosey-goosey on us. I really pray that I didn't hurt it. So you got to be gentle with those areas of your masks. Okay, we can fill it in. You don't have any brushes or stencils? Well, Tina, add them to your list. And we call them masks in the Stampin' Up! World. They're not stencils, but that's what they are like, right? They're stencils. You could create some. You know that? You can take your dies, and I mean, not multi-layered type stencils, but you can take and die cut from a window sheet, plastic window sheet, and then you have your own stencils that way. Have you ever done that, you guys? Chime in if you've done that before, if you've created your own stencils from dies. And then also maybe tell us which dies you used, because that would be fun to know. If we have those same dies, then we could do the same thing and we can create our own masks/stencils. All right. I love the trend also. Yes, I agree with you, Patty. I think it's great that they have jumped on board with this trend. We did have some years ago, and then we went away with them, and now they're back. All right, so we have that one done. And you know what? It's like coloring, right? But it's not as picky. So it's therapeutic because you're taking your time. You're actually using your arm muscles, right? So it's exercise. What else? What are the other benefits for stenciling? I don't know. Those are a couple. Well, plus you're making beautiful cards, okay? All right, this next color. Can't do it yet. Hang on. I need to peel this up. So there's what we have. And I'm going to put the next mask down. Set this aside into my pile of need to rinse in the sink. Next mask is this one. And this is the one where I said I had a little bit of a mishap like right in here when I was cleaning them. Okay, we've got our two showing. We've got our notch up there. We're lining it up with that dark line. And let's just make sure everything's shifted to where it looks like it's supposed to be on top of each other. Perfecto. Okay. So you don't have to stress too much about like drawing pencil lines to make sure your masks are within. I mean, if it's hard for you to see the lineup, then you can certainly do that. If you're like on grid paper or whatever, if you taped your white paper down. So let's say you've taped it down with some temporary adhesive and then you just use your masks on top of that grid paper. You could take on that white paper and just kind of color or draw a line with pencil. Okay, we're using Petunia Pop next. That one I had assigned a small blending brush. Small blending brushes can get into tinier places, I think, a little bit better too. So I don't know. There's benefits to both. The bigger brushes help you to get color on faster. I don't know. Anyways, here we go. Petunia Pop. Isn't that gorgeous? And Berry Burst, believe it or not, we have a darker color than this going on top. But right now, this is our Petunia Pop, and that looked like it went just fine in that area. It did not, the brush was soft enough where it didn't grab onto that piece. But again, be careful when you're cleaning, because that's where I kind of nicked it. You could set these in a low, shallow like tray, like a baking pan or something, to just kind of rinse them off if you want to do it really gentle. And then lay them into paper towels and kind of blot them dry. I don't know why, but I was just rinsing them under running water, and it's probably rougher on them. Okay, we have that color applied. We're going to pick up our stencil, and look how gorgeous that is looking, you guys. Our last stencil is number 3. And again, we're going to line up that notch, and then we're going to line up all of our holes. And what I'm looking at on this one, as you can see, the centers of the flowers are going to get filled in on these tiny ones. So that really helps me to line up this last floral mask. And we'll be using a color called Berry Burst. Hey Genevieve, glad that you could join us. You've used die cut stencils, or die cut acetate to make stencils. Denise, did you tell us yet which dies have you used? Do you know? Like, are there certain ones out there that would be super awesome for this? Okay, Barbara says that she's done it with the heavy acetate and shape stencils like squares, hearts, rectangles, circles. Yes, those are all great ideas because then you have that soft layered looking frame without doing it with cardstock. Okay, we're switching again to a new blending brush because that's Rachel. All right, the next blending brush is a larger one just because that's what I picked out originally, and this is for my berry burst. I store mine and I label them. I have like a little labeler that you can see in my affiliate links on that My Favorite Extras page. So there's a labeler that I use, but I just label like 3 containers with brights, 3 with subtles, 3 with regals. You know what I mean? So that's how I do it, so that I can just kind of look at the side and know which colors I'm grabbing. Okay, this is Berry Burst, you guys. Here we go. The last run. Oh yeah, there it is. It's definitely darker. Slightly darker. So fun. And I went up there, but there's no hole there. It just, I could see there was an image there, so I started coloring. There's nothing there. So don't let it trick you. Hey, Angie, glad you could join, even though you're a little late. It's totally fine. You can always watch the replay too, because YouTube does not delete my videos. Oh dear. Yeah. Again, those of you that came in late, I am transferring my Facebook lives, my Facebook only lives, not the ones that were also on YouTube already, but I'm in the midst of transferring them to YouTube, and right now I'm just sharing them with my my supporting YouTube channel members. YouTube supporters, thank you so much. I appreciate all of you. But thank you so much, supporter members, for helping me out with equipment and stuff like that. Okay, we're going to take our stencils, our masks out of the way, stick our tape out of the way, and now we have this beautiful floral image. And if you were to do them both on the same sheet, you could see how they come together to make a gorgeous design. But I wanted to use them differently. I wanted to think outside the box. We're now going to take and move all of this away. And we're going to bring in our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, because we're going to cut out a couple ovals from this piece. So now I'm going to introduce you to the die set. And I kind of threw them in here, but they're called framed scene dies. And they have 2 ovals. There's a wood grain frame, and there's this wood grain piece that just does kind of embedded wood grain here and there. It doesn't cut out an outside shape. It just puts texture into your cardstock. So these ovals obviously are not the same size. They fit inside each other, and I thought they were perfect for an egg. And thanks, Angie. And so I'm using these. I'm also using this frame piece on the silver textured foil, the specialty paper, I should say. I've already cut out a whole frame though, so I'm not going to do that for you, but I am going to cut out the ovals for you so you can see kind of my thinking on what I did with the original card. So you could take and cut in different areas. You could cut here, you could cut here, you could cut here, right? You can arrange it, but you want to make sure that you've also got a place for your other ovals somewhere to cut out. When I was making this card a couple days ago, this flower, it kind of called to me, and it said like, hey, you can use me by itself. So I avoided that area, and this is the positioning that I had. So I had it set up like this and like this. Let's see here, make sure I had this one. This is the one. So I had it like that. And then this one I think I just had like that. Yes, that looks pretty darn close to what I'm seeing on my finished card. So those are the areas, which means I didn't really have to cut those or do any inking of those, but I did, and it's totally fine. Okay, now I need my sticky notes. Any kind of sticky notes will work. Let's just grab a couple of these flags. And you can die cut them both at the same time. So let's see here. So get as much floral in that one as possible. There we go. And let's put our paper onto our scratchier of the 2 cutting mats. So our layers are base plate number 1, die adapter plate number 2, scratchy cutting mat because the blades are going down as I'm die cutting this time. And then our other one that's smoother, which eventually will replace this one when it gets bad. That's how I cycle mine. I'm sure a lot of you do that. Then we just aim it in as straight as possible and we cut those out. If you have oval punches, if you have other oval dies, they should work. The measurements of these are, just so you know, and where did my other ruler go? That's okay, we'll use this one. My Victor ruler. So the largest one is about a little over 1 3/4 inches by 2.5, and the smaller one is 1.5 by 2 1/4. So there, you know, if you're looking at your own stash to see what you have. So there's one, and here's the other one. So we have our die cutting done. Now we have to do some fussy cutting. I'm just going to scoot these things aside. We have to do some fussy cutting. So on our, oh, I just threw it over there. So on our paper, we have this last little rose. So I'll just take my paper snips, and I have that here. Here it is. And we'll just do our fussy cutting. I'm going about 1/16 of an inch away. And as I'm cutting, I'm using my paper more so than my scissors to turn. So the paper is turning, I'm using my left hand to turn it, and I'm using my right hand kind of in a more stable position because that is more comfortable to me. It depends on what's comfortable to you, but I find that a lot of people who are doing fussy cutting tend to keep their scissors still and they move their paper. Okay, we're almost done with that. Again, 1/16 of an inch all the way around, just to give it a nice formal look like that. Let's bring this back in and trim it. And we could actually bring in our grid paper again too, but right now I'm fine with not using it. We want to trim this down and we want to trim it to the same size as this layer. So at this point, you could kind of lay your eggs on here and say, let's see here. That tends to be where they look best. Maybe I'm going to trim like a little bit off here, but more so on this side. And I'm probably going to trim equally on the top and bottom. So let's do 1/16 of an inch off this side. So that's just covering up the darkness of that. And that, I'm just trying to get the eggs kind of more centered. So there's 1/16 of an inch. As I turn this around, I want this to be 4 inches wide. So I'm going to trim off a little bit more in that direction. Okay. Then we'll do equal amounts on the top and bottom. So we'll do about 1/8 of an inch on the top and 1/8 of an inch on the bottom. And I could have had this cut ahead of time, but I didn't because I wanted to be able to work with it, right? So I think, you know, it's hard to predict where those eggs are going to sit until after you've put the whole design on top of your paper, the whole leaf design. So you almost have to have those, unless you have some already pre-cut, but I did not, right? The other thing that I want to do to make these ready to go is I'm going to bring in my grid paper. So just some scrap paper, and we're going to do some, actually I'm going to bring in my grippy paper again, because then I don't have to tape these down. All right, coming back into my craft room. Just a second, here it is. So let's bring this back in again, one more time. And I keep, do you guys do this? Do you keep your little ends on your glass mats? I do that because I think it protects the surface. It allows me to get underneath too, but once in a while, my dies or paper scraps disappear under it. they get scooted under there and I'm like, wait, where did it go? You may have seen a video where that's happened. Okay, so for the eggs, we'll just put them back on here on the grippy mat like that, and they're gonna stay as I work with them. So let's grab our fresh freesia, and here it is, fresh freesia, because that's my lightest purple. You could pick a different color if you want to, but I just want to kind of enhance some color around here. So my fresh freesia blending brush, Get some ink on there. You can even start on the mat if you want to, but we're just going to kind of come in, and it wants to grip onto my brush. But we're just adding a little bit of color on the edges. See how it just grabs, you guys? I didn't trust it at first. Did you see my finger in there? Where did I get the grip paper? Debbie, I got it on Amazon. It's a Tim Holtz product, and because I'm an affiliate with Amazon, I do have a link to it in my favorite extras. So if you go to my website at stampyourartout.com, you can see a whole bunch of things in there. The precision tip bottle is in there. Gosh, Stamp and Storage, Country Hive, there's all kinds of products in there. But then there's other items that are from Amazon, like this grip mat. So now I've got this nice purple haze around there, and you can see it's going to stand out against white paper now because I've added that purple haze. You don't want to add too much either because you want your flower to still be there. And if you keep adding too much fresh freesia, it's going to blend into the base color of your flower, right? So, are you getting commercials, you guys? You know what is interesting is I've heard that when I do lives, if I click the monetize button before I go live, then the commercials happen during the live for my live viewers, and I try not to have that happen during the live. And if I click it after, it's not supposed to, but maybe if you're coming in late, like you didn't come in before the live started, maybe you're getting commercials. I don't know. Tell me if that's, what you're finding. If you come in before, are you getting commercials? If you're coming in after, are you then, you know what I mean? So, all right. Yes, you could totally use smaller pieces if you want to. You could cut this down. Teresa, she says she cuts hers into smaller pieces. This is cuttable. You can cut this mat. I just use the whole thing and I roll it up and I stick it back into my little box. There's a plastic sheet that it comes with. And so after I wipe this off, I'll put my plastic sheet down and I'll roll up everything. Oh, drop something on my toe. All right, so again, we'll set this aside. I need to rinse it off before I put it away though, because it has ink on it. But yes, totally, you can cut it down and then you have travel size grippy mats. Sorry about that, didn't mean to keep that up there. Okay, let's bring in all our pieces. We've got our 2 layers. This is an inside layer, this is an outside layer. We've got our eggs, we've got our flower. We have a partial frame, because remember I told you I already cut this. You could use either of these 4 edges, I think. Well, probably the long one. The long one's going to work the best, so good thing we have one more long one. So I just trimmed them at the corners. Okay, and then we need that, and we need our green, our granny apple green, which I have somewhere. Oh, I was going to cut that for you. Hang on. Let me get my granny apple green. Grabbing that. There's so many tips and techniques in this, you guys. By the way, if you are a YouTube member, you are going to have a video this Friday at 10 a.m. Central Time just for you. Okay, we're going to cut this, this white layer. Remember, this is 4 1/4 by 5, no, 4 by 5 1/4, right? This is our inside layer. 5 1/4 by 4. So we're going to do those same measurements, 5 1/4, but we're not going to use them exactly the same. We're going to go beyond, and we're going to go a little over, which is like the 1/16 of an inch. And you can go a little over that too if you want to, but just basically not a full 1/8 of an inch. So we're going to trim there. And we'll want 2 of these, so you might as well do it like I'm doing. So we want 2. So we're going to do 4, a little over, like to the 1/16 of an inch, and maybe a little beyond. It's going to give us a tiny, tiny, tiny thin frame. So 4, 4 1/16, and maybe a little beyond. It's going to give us a nice, tiny frame. So that's why I cut that in front of you, because all I had in my sheet was, I think it was, let's see here. Yeah, a little less than 4 1/8 and a little less than 5 3/8. So at that same spot. Let's do some splattering too. I have a blends marker here. It's the dark lemon lime twist. And I know that this does wear on your tips, so you don't want to be doing this technique too often. But if you're interested, you can add a little bit of splatter just by flicking your cap, your tip inside your cap and kind of allowing that ink to splatter. You see how it's splattering here and there? And you don't have to do it too much as long as you're in the right spot. I don't mind buying more markers though, so I do it. But yeah, it can wear on your markers. See how I've got little splatters of green on there now? Oh, one more thing that I wanted to do was bring in the Pool Party ink and another blending brush. Let's grab these, and then we need to emboss too. Boy, there's a lot of little pieces. This is an artsy card, you guys. This is a technique class. I don't always do the technique classes. Try to do them like once a month, but I do kits more often, I guess. But I love doing techniques too. Techniques, fun folds, it's all good. Pool Party, here we go. So I want a little bit of a haze up in here, a haze of blue. It'll make it look like it's, you know, more outside. A little haze of blue down here. And you don't want it to get too close to that edge, or I probably should have done it before I trimmed. You don't want to get too close to the edge or it tends to darken there. And then let's do a little haze of blue, maybe right through here too. Okay, now it looks close to the other card. Isn't this pretty? It's so pretty. Okay, the next thing is to do some embossing. This is where we bring in Storybook Friends. Post-it sticky notes on there. Storybook Friends has a wonderful sentiment. Easter Greetings. It actually is larger than you see here. It's a photopolymer stamp set. We've already got it mounted. We're going to use our Versamark ink. That's a sticky clear ink. And if you would like to, I tend to feel like there's a little bit of a haze that happens when you brush this on, so I don't use it too often on my black, and I also have dry hands. But if you would like to, you can take and put this across. This is the Embossing Buddy. It helps to get rid of any oils and kind of dull them down. And then you can stamp, and we're just using the full rectangle. We're not going to do any fancy cutting. The Easter Greetings is on there. Maybe hard to see. Oh, there we go. Tipping it in the light. It's there. So now we're going to capture it by putting our white Basics Wow embossing powder on top of the sticky ink. And look at how neat and clean Rachel's going to be about this. Barely any in that container. Wow. That was good. I want a little more. Okay, now it's getting everywhere. But this is the Embossing Buddies toolkit, and it has like a little tray. It has a brush so that you can like brush it back into your container. I'm going to set that aside. You've seen me do that on other videos if you've been watching, but let's do a quick emboss. Heat emboss. This is heat embossing. We're going to plug in our heat tool, and we're going to start it. It's going to be a little noisier. And I'm starting it off to the side just to kind of get that heat to go. I've got a tweezers that also comes with that kit. There we go. And don't put heat tools under your arms. Here we go. Oh, let's zoom in too, okay? So you can see better, because embossing is so magical. All right, here we go. Oh, you can already see the gloriousness of the heat. Look at that. So pretty. I love it. You know, if anything, if you guys are avid crafters, and I'm glad that you're here for my more avid cards, but if you're avid crafters and you're like, I know that stuff, isn't it fun to watch people create anyways? It's such a relaxing thing. I love watching people demonstrate card making. Paper crafting is fun. Let's put this together. We're going to take our seal adhesive. Oops, it's over here. I put it away. Our seal adhesive. And if you want to, you can do a sentiment for the inside of your card too. I didn't on my finished one. You could use maybe the little bunny that's in the Storybook Friends stamp set. Or you could do more flowers in there. But this is our inside layer. And I'm just going to add that Ah, getting quick here, Rachel. Just going to add that to the inside of our card. Oh, and I want to check something. So remember the tip of if you can see both layers from one side, that is the back. This is the front. It just looks neater. So we'll open it up. We'll stick that on the inside. Because sometimes our scoring is not exact, right? Embossing is always magical. I totally agree. This paper is going to go on next. No, it's not. Sorry. Nope, it's not. We're going to actually layer our eggs on, and my grid paper keeps on shifting. I'm going to tape it down if that's okay with you guys. Let's just tape this in place so it doesn't keep shifting on us. All right, we need to do our layers first. That's what we need to do. This flower is going to go on with a tiny section of dimensional. So I'm just going to trim one of these edges. And this is going to go on the end of the flower. And then in the other side is where we're going to add glue dots. That's why I have the glue dots listed. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Joan. You're sweet. I think watching card making is totally calming. So, all right, so I have a little glue dot there. I'm actually going to stick 2 on there. Oh, thanks, Marcia. So I have on the back side a sticky little flat piece of adhesive with the glue dots, and I have a raised sticky part with a half of a dimensional, and that will give my flower that I add in this spot here a lift, but not a lift where it's going to distract from this lifted piece. So this piece is also going to be lifted. Let's actually add this. So it's going to go on like that. Okay. But I'm going to connect it with glue, a glue dot, but it's not really a glue dot. It is tear and tape adhesive. It's a really thin line of glue dot in a way. So I'm peeling off a couple inches of this. I'm sticking my fingernail underneath, or you could grab the take your pick tool or your snips, but you want to peel off and separate the backing from the tape. And I've got 2 fingers on there now to hold it as I peel. And then I'm going to take this end and twist it. Okay, so now I have a long glue dot, and that's going to go on top of the bottom edge of this silver die cut and embossed frame piece. And then I'll set this on top. So it's all one now. It's all connected. Ta-da! And then we can trim this because we're not going to be adding that. Let's add our eggs with dimensionals. This is where you can use a few full ones. Because they're going to overlap, I don't want my dimensionals right smack dab in the middle of my eggs. I kind of want to go more towards the center. So I'm going to add 3 there and just maybe a couple on this one because it's smaller. Peel off the backings. So you want to do all of this layering first, because then if there's any trimming to do, especially on your sentiment piece, you can do that beforehand. So then what I did is I just kind of like turned my flowers in different directions, and I found that this positioning here, which is kind of in this spot, and this positioning here gave me a nice full egg look. A full egg look. Okay, and then we have this gap in here, and that's where our sentiment's going to go, right on top to fill in that gap. It's all a show because there's like all these leaves that are connecting to nothing. But ta-da, we are going to, oh, and you know what I would do here? I mean, I'm doing it on here, but I would put the dimensionals here so that they are where you need them and they're not going to hit on top of the egg or whatever. So now we can lay this on in place. And I don't think I need to trim my sentiment, but if I did, like if I had it out sticking out here, I could trim that now that it's still a white, just a white layer. But I think I want it in all the way there. So we'll put this down. Press that in place. It looks straight to me. Now we can add it to our green layer. It's kind of like that whole idea too of don't put your inside layer down until you've stamped your sentiment. Okay, what are the new things that are happening? Well, we have a new annual catalog that is coming soon. May 6th, we're going to have a new annual catalog turnover. The current mini catalog, the January through April mini catalog, will no longer be. It doesn't mean all the products will no longer be, but the catalog is not a valid catalog anymore. And then the annual catalog that's current is also going to be no longer valid. The products, we'll find out on April 1st which products are going to continue on and just be in the online store. Some of them are continuing on in the new annual, and then there are some that are going to be retired, but we're not using the word retired anymore because it's going to be on the last chance list, which means it could sell out within days. It could sell out within months. So basically, once it gets added to the last chance list, then it gets sold there until the last item is sold. Does that make sense? You like the egg look? Thanks. One more thing just to kind of add a little bit more of silver in there is I just added a few of these little guys here. These are my favorite embellishment. I hope they never get rid of them, and they are in the new annual catalog. But these are rhinestone basic jewels. And if you look them up with the word rhinestones, they won't be found. You have to use rhinestone. Maybe they've changed that, but I have learned my lesson many times trying to find the rhinestones in the online store. So we have just kind of a little extra spray of glitz going on there with the rhinestones. I'm so glad you guys like it. Thank you. Yay. So keep those things in mind about the new products coming into play May 6th. That means things are going to be leaving soon. Past in colors from the 2023 through 25 in color line are leaving. Get your color refills, your ink pad refills, cardstock, all of that. Get stocked up on that stuff. Again, last chance list is posting on April 1st. If you follow my website, if you subscribe to my blog posts, you're going to get notification. You can also subscribe to my newsletters and you'll get notification that way. So go to my website and click on one of the drop-down menus to subscribe. What else do I want to share as far as news goes? Starter kit. I mean, so sometimes people wait until there's like a freebie added onto the starter kit. But this might be a perfect time for people to join because right now, anybody who gets the starter kit to be on the demonstrator side of things, to be a discount shopper, will be able to add pre-order products. So some of that new stuff that us demonstrators are showing off, you can add that pre-order product to your starter kit order. And then after you're a demonstrator, you can even add, purchase more, and you can purchase it at a discount, which is great. It's fabulous. But in April, the whole month of April, any new demonstrator who hasn't, if you are still at bronze entering, that's a title. If you're still at bronze entering the month of April, I believe it's 300 in sales. Correct me if I'm wrong, you guys. Is it 300? Yes, 300 in sales. If you get 300 in sales, which can be your own purchases in the month of April, you earn a tote. It's so cool. Upcoming lives, I want to tell you that I have one this Friday again, like at 10 a.m. I mentioned that already. That's for my YouTube supporting members. Then April 2nd, April 4th, April 9th, April 11th, so twice a week I have more lives. Make sure that you tune in for all of my future lives. It's so much fun to craft, and I hope that you'd like to come back and craft with me. Thank you for the thumbs up, the subscription to my YouTube channel. Just by subscribing, you're not paying money, but you're getting those feed. When you go to YouTube, you're going to get my videos in your feed. You can adjust your notifications by clicking on the bell so that you can see videos come up for me more often. You get notifications when I go live, that sort of thing. So I invite you to do that. We have prizes to do, so I don't want to miss out on prizes. So let us move into prize drawing time. Trish is probably panicking on the other end. Rachel, did you forget? It's like 12 o'clock. So I have blending brushes. I have the big size and I have the little size. So that's going to be part of the prize drawing for the newbies. So if the newbies, for those of you that are commenting on this new video, sorry about that. This is the next prize. This is for today. I should show you the other one. Sorry, I'm going way ahead of myself because I'm panicking because we're already on the hour. Last week's prizes. I have to look them up because I forgot. Oh my goodness. Technique videos go a little bit longer than I anticipate sometimes. So last week's prizes, and let me show them to you on my desktop. The winners have a supply of Faker Shakers, of the card that we made last time. They also get a sheet of dimensionals and Tombow multi-purpose liquid glue. If you live outside the US, I can send you a tutorial via email. If you would rather have a tutorial via email, you can certainly choose that as your prize. But we did have a winner from last week's After Live commenters. Again, if we comment more often, if we have lots more comments, I should say, not more often, but lots more commenters in the After Live, then we'll do more prizes. So Lola Miller, 7556, you get the prize that I just shared, the make and take supplies, the dimensionals, and the glue. The next one is, okay, now we're gonna bring it in. We've got, so let's go back to the desktop. Oh, so sorry that we're going a little over. So you get a blending brush. You get 4 sheets of sparkly specialty paper, which would be great for accents on a card like today. And you get your choice of rhinestones or these beautiful purple adhesive back sequins, which, hello, they would be gorgeous on this card. The winners are, thank you, Trisha. We have Ruth Ann and we have Sherry Scrogham. So Ruth Ann and Sherry Scrogham. And if you just have your name as Ruth Ann, that's how you are the winner. Like if you have Ruth Ann and then your last name in there, it has to look, this is the way you are seen on the YouTube comments, I guess is what we're saying. So congrats to the winners. Yay, congratulations to all the winners. You guys are so sweet. Thank you for chiming in. I think that's it. Had a blast. I had a blast creating. I hope that you enjoyed what I shared. Again, like, subscribe, you know, adjust your bells so that you're getting notifications. Share. That would be great if you would share too. And comment after the live to get in on a chance at the after live drawing for prizes too. I appreciate you all. I hope that you have a great week, and we will see you next week for the next public live on Wednesday. All right, take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Oh, I forgot to say, and stamp your art out. Bye.